As we continue to mark 23 years since the September 11th terrorist attacks, local, state, and federal leaders are using this day to continue change in our nation.
That includes Congressman Tim Kennedy. He joins us now via Zoom. Congressman, thank you so much for joining us.
Good afternoon. Thanks for having me.
So this certainly is a very somber day for our country. I understand you took a trip this week to New York City to visit the 9/11 Memorial and Museum. Tell us a little bit about that visit.
Yeah, well, today is a somber day in America. We remember the 2,977 lives that were lost 23 years ago today in that horrific terrorist attack on 9/11, 2001. The flags are at half-mast here in our nation's capital as a reminder of that day. We stood at a moment of silence at 8:46 this morning to remember those that we lost. And just this past Monday, I was part of a congressional delegation, part of the Homeland Security Committee, to go visit the ground zero, the site of that horrific terrorist attack 23 years ago, and remember those that were lost, meet with the first responders that were on the scene that day, and recognize those that were in the moment, the survivors, those families that have lost loved ones, as well as those that continue to suffer from illnesses from not only the day itself, but the ensuing weeks, months, and years where, 343 members of FDNY were lost that day running in, heroes of America, while those that were working in the building were running out. But since 9/11, we have lost more than that in people, first responders, firefighters alone, that have succumbed to illness, cancer, and the like, because of that day, the cleanup efforts and the pollution, the toxins in the air that followed. So we continue to have an obligation to take care of those families, to take care of those that lost loved ones, as well as the survivors that continue to deal with the fallout of that horrific day. But it's also an inspiration to look up at One World Trade Center and see that our country is better than what happened to us on 9/11, that we have persevered and that we continue to persevere. And we have rebounded, that our country will never be the same, but that we sent a message to the global community as well, that we will continue to lead, that we will continue to be the center of democracy and freedom across the globe. And the Homeland Security Committee that went down as a delegation was reminded that day, on this past Monday, of not only what happened on that tragic Tuesday morning 23 years ago, but also the obligation we have to America to secure our country from continued terrorist threats across the globe.
Congressman, veterans are a huge part, of course, of 9/11 and the commemoration, the memories, and the ceremonies all across this incredible country. You also are a member of the Congressional Veterans Affairs Committee, and in that role, you have been leading a bipartisan group of folks looking into the Buffalo VA. You have some news that developed just yesterday during a committee meeting. What can you share with us?
Yeah, so I sit on the Veterans Affairs Committee in the House of Representatives, and part of that is our investigatory work. So yesterday we had the Undersecretary from the Department of Veterans Affairs. We had the Inspector General from the Department of Veterans Affairs. I asked pointedly to the Inspector General when we should expect, from a timeline perspective, that report to come out. He said sooner rather than later. I also got the Undersecretary for Veterans Affairs to commit to coming to Buffalo, to working with us to rectify the issues that continue to be dealt with from a staffing perspective to an infrastructure perspective. It's all about making sure that our veterans get the services, the health care that they have earned and that they deserve. And we're not going to stop until the Veterans Hospital in Buffalo, New York is a model for the rest of the nation. And one of the things that I brought up yesterday was the need for investment in infrastructure at our VA hospital in Buffalo. And the undersecretary recognized the issues at hand. This was a building that was built in the 1940s. It opened in 1950. We're going on nearly 75 years of service to our great American heroes, our veterans that have served our country so nobly. And our veterans and our frontline heroes that are taking care of our veterans each and every day deserve resources. They deserve investment. They deserve to be staffed up to the levels that they require to take care of our loved ones and our veterans. Our veterans deserve a technologically advanced hospital that is a strong, vibrant facility. We have to invest hundreds of millions of dollars into the current facility, but I believe what we really need is a brand new facility for our veterans, a new technologically advanced building that will provide all of the resources and benefits that our veterans deserve and our frontline workers deserve to be treating our veterans in.
Congressman, when it comes to the VA hospital, all of those large and very perhaps futuristic plans about a new facility that would cost hundreds of millions of dollars, great on the horizon, but a lot of these veterans, especially local, are looking for changes to the current system so that their medical care is not affected. Can we talk about some of the changes that were from that investigation?
100%. Look, we're putting a marker down. Our veterans deserve better than what they're getting today because of the crumbling infrastructure at the VA hospital in Buffalo. So we're putting a marker down. That is a futuristic goal, and we expect to get to that goal. But you have to start with the conversation. That being said, what we got yesterday from the Undersecretary of the Veterans Affairs was a commitment to make the VA hospital in Buffalo a priority of his department, that he will come to visit Buffalo with me in the coming weeks, and that he is absolutely committed, as well as the interim directors who replaced those that had failed our veterans in leadership at the VA hospital in Buffalo, to rectifying the issues at hand in the moment, to solving the staffing issues. You know, we're fighting for a continued resolution here in Congress today. You just heard the bell ring. You know, we want to make sure that when we take a vote on that continuing resolution, that includes the $12 billion that's been promised to our veterans across America to get the staffing levels up to speed that they deserve. There's no better place that demonstrates that need than Buffalo, New York.
Well, with that bell ring, we certainly will let you get to your work. Congressman Tim Kennedy, thank you so much for taking the time during your schedule. Thank you.
Thanks, Tim.